Dressed overly casual at a designer store so that the rude sales rep wouldn't get commission. I don't typically buy a lot of designer clothing, but when I do go shopping, I dress pretty casually. Last week I was strolling through the mall and there was designer backpack on display that caught my attention. I went inside the store wearing a hoodie and ripped jeans and went to inquire about the price of the backpack. I waited around for 10 minutes for someone to help me until I decided to go up to one of the sales representatives myself. She told me to wait because she was helping another customer, so I sat down and waited. I saw her in the corner of the store just standing, not doing anything. I decided to wait another 5 minutes for her to come back, but she never did. I walked back up to her and told her I wanted to inquire about the backpack. I asked her if she could bring one from the back room so I could take a closer look at it. She told me that she wouldn't be able to do that unless I was planning on purchasing the item. She seemed annoyed with my request. Before I could say anything else, she quickly walked away to help another customer. I'm quite young and I could tell she didn't think I was serious about purchasing it and didn't want to waste her time. I would have actually purchased it then and there if she hadn't been so dismissive. A few days later, I went back into the store. This time I made sure to dress her even more casually than before. I walked in with a pair of sweatpants, running shoes, a tank top, and zip-up. The same lady was working that day and turned her back to me as soon as I walked in. I went up to one of the other sales representatives. This guy was younger, smiling and seemed eager to help, and I told him I wanted to purchase the backpack and he gladly went inside and got for me. He even asked if I'd like to take a look at it before buying. I thanked him and he checked me out. The store manager was also by the cashier and I let him know that I came in last week, and that the lady wouldn't let me see the product before purchasing it. He was upset to hear this and told me this wasn't the first time he had received a complaint about her. The item was a few grand and all the commission went towards the junior. He was so kind and grateful. She avoided eye contact with me after she got told off by her manager, and I smiled at her as I walked out of the store. Don't judge a book by its cover. Big mistake, huge. My mom was a hair stylist that took on a lot of mid to high class customers, but certainly didn't turn away anyone below those bars. She told me one day in her first salon, a man that looked somewhere between a construction worker and outright homeless guy came in. No one wanted to handle him and actively pretended he didn't exist. Turned out the guy was rich. Became a repeat client. That woman obviously hasn't worked there long. One of my friends worked for a high-end designer store in Vegas and said that the women who came in dressed to the nines in designer stuff usually spent like $2,000, $10,000, but the big spenders $20,000 usually came in wearing sweats, casual clothes, and looking like they were, spending the day walking around the mall shopping. My mom used to work for a money manager. She always said the people who came in dressed up and dripping in expensive items tended to have much less money than those who came in dressed in normal or casual clothes. Kudos to you for having a patience to teach her a lesson. I don't think I would have had the patience to wait and then to return the next day. Can you post a pic of the backpack? I'm really curious. I did the same thing at a car dealership. I'm a computer nerd and I live in shorts and t-shirts, but I'm paid enough that I could buy the car with cash. My brother used to sell cars and he ran into this with the other salesman. An older man came in and he wasn't up to their standards. My brother waited on him and he paid cash for a new car. My brother got a nice commission and the other lazy salesman got nothing. People will never learn. Bought an Apple IIC. I'm old when they just come out. I had tagged along with my much older brother was in sweatpants, a t-shirt. They did help but were kind of dismissive. I applied for store credit to buy it. I'm pretty sure they didn't think I'd qualify. I was 24 or so, looked even younger, and what I was wearing didn't help. Q180 change in attitude when I pulled out an Amex for the credit check. Suddenly, it was, will you be needing anything else? Totally obsequious from that point on. I laughed so hard on the way back to my brother's house. Good for you. This happened to me when I walked in a jewelry store. It was a Saturday, and I was dressed casually. My husband and I were the only customers. Whenever I walked up to a section of the store to look at the jewelry, the salesperson followed me. Not in a "can I help you" way, but a creepy, distrustful way, like she was afraid I would try to steal something. I got out of there and never went back. I buy my fine jewelry elsewhere. I worked for a renowned jewelry designer, and I tell you one thing, the shabbier people look, the richer they are. I had customers with teeth rotting out of their mouth who spend tens of thousands on jewelry in one go. What a moron. The junior salesman did his job and bagged the commission. After my dad retired, he went to buy himself a nicer car. Got ignored for 1-2 an hour at the BMW dealership, so he went and bought an Audi instead. Cash. Michael Caine's shopping list: milk, bread, newspaper, cigarettes, Rolls-Royce. I used to work in sales. We had a varied clientele. The other salespeople often ignored the scruffy people, I didn't. They were usually owners of businesses who would buy loads of stuff and therefore lots of commission for me. Loved rubbing the other salespeople's faces in it, and they never learned. I knew someone who went to a car dealership wearing tie-dyed shirt, jean shorts, and Birkenstocks, long hair in a ponytail, and the first dealership would not even give him the time of day. Walked out, went to the other dealership across the street, and got the car, then drove to the other place to rub it in their face. LOL, it was epic. Everyone saying you're making this up is wild. This stuff literally happens all the time. Sometimes people need a little reminder to stay humble, revenge, and a life lesson in one. LOL. My wife works with a salesperson a little like this. She will ignore someone that thinks won't buy anything, like old people. She will tell them she is busy, then another salesperson will help them make the sale. Then she will run up and say, "That was my customer, you stole them from me. Transfer the sales to my name." I recently walked into a higher-end clothing store with a stained t-shirt and dirty shoes. I really hadn't planned on buying anything and had just thrown on some random clothes. I ended up spending quite a bit of money there and had a great shopping experience and even got a discount. That saleswoman was great. Never judge a book by its cover. Wow, amazing story. I've heard similar instances, and it's infuriating how people judge based on appearance. Glad you taught her a lesson and left with a smile. They should put this in a movie with a hooker. Played by Julia Roberts. I knew a man was the second or third largest landowner in Texas. Dressed in overalls most of the time. The owner of Temple Inland, Google it, back in the 70s and 80s, knew my first name. I was a kid and unaware he knew me. Scared the heck out of me when he called my name. Nicest guy you would ever want to meet. Arthur Temple Jr. He was upset to hear this and told me this wasn't the first time he had received a compliment about her. Pretty sure you meant complaint. Also, this exact scenario happened to a musician in the 1970s regarding car sales and being snubbed for wearing comfortable clothing. I live near Seattle and used to live near Portland, two big cities in the US known for tech companies and tech startups and hipsters, if I'm going to be honest. If people in stores around here were snooty like that to people, they'd get zero commissions. I once went Christmas shopping, but I was looking after my friend's Chihuahua. LOL, so yeah, Chihuahua went with me, in her designated designer purse, and a sales lady came like running through the crowd to help me in a very busy beauty store. I was like, damn. I need to borrow this little bastard next time I go shopping on busy days, because this is how it's done. Has no one ever watched Pretty Woman? If you want the commission, you help every single customer. Not dismissing what happened to you, but I gotta say, this gives the vibe of a "The Man" video.